Welcome to another episode of the Einstein Retirement Daily, where we curate financial, economic, and market news for the headlines that affect today's retiree. In today's topic, we're going to discuss the fact that Social Security does not mail out many statements for benefits these days, and there is some laws that are potentially pending that should be attended to. As always, if you hear something in today's podcast that causes you to want to take some action, to do something, to make changes to your situation, please consult with the appropriate tax, legal, or investment professional who knows your specific circumstance prior to you making any changes or adjustments. Okay, I'm a little bit excitable about this topic today because there is a bipartisan bill. We don't hear the word bipartisan much anymore. So anytime I hear the word bipartisan, I say, gosh, maybe this is going to happen. But there is a bipartisan bill that is in Congress now that is being pushed. And this bill is entitled the Know Your Social Security Act. The Know Your Social Security Act, one of the major components in this act, is going to cost a sizable amount of money. How much exactly? I'm not sure exactly, but I do want to make sure that we have a sense as to what's going on here and what potentially we might be able to do about it. So, this bipartisan group of lawmakers, as the entitled article from Lori Conish, one of my favorites over at CNBC, writes, bipartisan group of lawmakers propose bill requiring Social Security Administration to send mailed annual statements to more workers. Okay, so what's going on? If you are over the age of 60, you likely still get a Social Security statement unless you've already filed for your Social Security benefits or unless you signed up for a profile, the My Social Security program on ssa.gov. If you didn't know, at ssa.gov, you can click on My Social Security and you can sign up for your own profile. It's directly linked to you. You have to verify yourself with security questions, things pulled from your credit history to verify that it's really you. And you can go in and see everything about your Social Security benefit, regardless of your age. Okay, so as long as you have paid money into the system, you have a profile at ssa.gov. The bill being proposed out of Congress is suggesting that we are going to start mailing statements, paper statements. So for those of you who've gotten a paper statement, you know what I'm talking about. If you've never received a paper statement, maybe you're too young, or you've had a profile at My Social Security for a long time. But those paper statements are 4 or 5 pages, 3-sided, okay, so they do print on both sides, but your Social Security statement, page 1 gives you a big bold number, that's your estimated primary insurance amount. The next page lists off how much you would expect to receive in benefits at various ages of filing. And then that third page, the main component of that, is going to be the amount of your income that you've paid taxes on into the Social Security and Medicare system. So those are the 3 primary pages of the Social Security statement. And if you've not seen one, then you can go to ssa.gov, create your profile, and you can log in and see all this information. There are a few important things that are being highlighted, let's say, in this article about the law and some valid aspects for this law to be passed. So I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute and say that maybe this law is a good idea. I don't think it's a good idea. I think maybe there's something different we should consider doing, but let's go with it for a second. Let's say that this law is valid and is a great idea. What would cause me to say that? Number 1, it is true that there is a statute of limitations for getting your Social Security statement corrected if there is ever an error, meaning you paid more in taxes than what is being reported on your statement. Because the amount of dollars that you pay into the Social Security system on your statement, the amount of those dollars, that is the amount that correlates to how much your benefit. If the statement says that you earned and paid Social Security or FICA taxes on $40,000, but in fact you actually paid $80,000 and you don't get that corrected, then there is a statute of limitations. There's only so far you can go back. I don't have that number memorized, but you can't go back forever. There's a statute of limitations on getting it corrected, A, and B, having that say $40,000 instead of $80,000 could reduce your Social Security benefit, how much you're actually entitled to when you go to file. So it is important to check your earnings history and to make sure that the numbers being reported to the Social Security system are true, they're accurate. So that's very important. That's a good reason to mail out Social Security benefit statements, is so that people can check their earnings history and make sure that they're correct. Number two, right now, very few people are receiving Social Security statements, and so that can easily lead to people not having a good grasp of what they are going to be entitled to. So, why would that be important? Well, many people can make mistakes about their benefits and when to file and what's best for their situation when they don't have a good understanding of how the Social Security system works. I have witnessed personally people retiring and expecting Social Security to pay them a much larger benefit than what it actually ended up paying them. And a lot of the reason why that happened was because they didn't understand how their benefits worked and what they were entitled to receive. An example of this that I came across and ran into, a gal has worked for about 30 years. She thought at one point that her Social Security statement was telling her that when she filed for benefits, she would be entitled to $1,500 a month with a small pension that was going to give her a little more than $2,000 a month in income. Her expenses, she lived very frugally. She could easily live on that. What she didn't realize, because she stopped receiving a Social Security statement and she made the mistake of not checking beforehand, was that she thought that that was available to her at any time once she reached filing age, and her understanding was that she could file at 62. Well, in her case, filing at 62 meant that she wasn't paying into the system. She didn't have all 35 years for her benefit calculation, so it reduced the amount she was actually entitled to, and then her actual benefit was further reduced because she not only did she not work those years, but she's filing at 62 instead of her full retirement age. And so that $1,500 was actually closer to $1,200, and the $1,200 after being discounted to age 62 was just around $900. So all of a sudden she's retired, goes to Social Security to collect Social Security, and she's $600 a month short. So these are some of the reasons why we could say that maybe we should agree that Social Security would be good to mail these statements out, make sure people have access to them. Let me flip the script a little bit. If Social Security mails out statements to all 180 million workers who are entitled to benefits, we're talking about a lot of money, okay? I did a calculation, I knocked off 30 million workers because many of these people are already retired and collecting benefits. Maybe some of them have opted in for electronic statements. Could be a lot of reasons. But I think it's reasonable to say that it could be as much as $99 million in terms of cost per year. That's the high end. $99 million is what it could cost for Social Security to mail out statements annually. And that's just postage. That's not the cost of printing. okay, just postage. Add in the cost of printing, maybe knock it down. I still say probably on the high end, 99 million. Let's say it's half. Let's say it actually only costs Social Security $50 million to mail out these statements. Respectfully, we need to do something about this. And I don't mean lobby your congressman and get them not to pass this bill. Just make it that this bill isn't relevant, that it isn't needed. I think that it's easily said that rather than spending, let's call it $50 million a year, okay, assuming postage never goes up, $50 million a year to mail out statements, we could take $10 million and run an ad campaign where we inform people about the My Social Security, and that ends up having a bigger impact than having people receive their statements by mail. I think that could be done. Between online marketing, you got your YouTube ads, your Twitter ads, your Facebook ads, you got TV, you got billboards. Between everything that's available out there, I'm thinking $10 million would make a bigger difference than the as much as 99 million being mailed in postage to every Social Security filer. That's just my opinion. But here's the other thing. Maybe we can do a good job and spread the message that you can get a profile at ssa.gov, your My Social Security profile. So do me a favor, if you're listening to this podcast, share this podcast with somebody. Let's get more people signed up to receive their, to get on their Social Security account, to get on it, to show our legislators that we don't need them to spend this money. The Social Security system is already broke. It's already operating in the red. I don't know if you know this, but we're only funded 75 cents on the dollar after the year 2036. So let's give it some more juice. Okay, let's do our part. Let's get this system going. Let's try to add some dollars back in. Let's not be wasteful. Okay, we don't need to mail out all these statements. I'm guessing it's a $50 million budget. If anyone has a better estimate, let me know. But let's save our Social Security system $50 million a year, shall we? Can you do a good job? Can we spread this message? Let people know about ssa.gov. If you don't have a profile at ssa.gov, go fill one out. I'm young enough, I didn't create one yet. But so they want to mail it out to people 25 years and older. I'm older than 25, so I'm going to go create a profile so they don't mail it to me. Okay? Get everybody to create a profile. Get it to where if they actually go through and they are going to mail statements, it doesn't go to hardly anybody. Okay? So if it actually happens, we save them the money so they keep it in the system. Let's make it happen, okay? So share the message, share the podcast, please. Let's get us to a position where we don't pass a bill like this, and even if they do, it doesn't cost us a lot of money, okay? Let's work together on this. All right, that's all for today's podcast. As always, I'll link the article in the description section. Get excited about this. Share this with your friends. If you don't have a profile at ssa.gov, make it happen. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, and we'll see you next time.